Picture this, September 490 BC. You're a Greek hoplite standing on the plain of Marathon, about 26 miles from Athens. Across the battlefield, you see something that makes your blood run cold. 120,000 Persian soldiers, the finest warriors from the greatest empire on earth. An army that has never lost a major land battle, an empire that spans 3 continents and rules 50 million people. Your force? 8,000 Greeks. Farmers and shopkeepers who picked up spears 3 weeks ago. You're outnumbered 15 to 1. You have no cavalry, no archers, just bronze armor, a wooden shield, and a prayer. This should be a massacre. The Persians know it, your generals know it, you know it, but in less than 3 hours, something impossible will happen. The greatest empire on earth will suffer a humiliation so catastrophic it will echo for 2,500 years. And Western civilization will survive because of what happens on this beach. This is the Battle of Marathon, the most important underdog victory in human history. And the truth is even crazier than the legend. But first, you need to understand why the most powerful empire on earth wanted to destroy one small Greek city. Before we dive into one of the greatest military upsets ever, if you want the real stories behind the battles that changed everything, hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Let's explore this together. Most people know Marathon from the race. After the battle, a messenger supposedly ran 26 miles to Athens, announced victory, and dropped dead. That's why we have marathons today. Nice story. Partly true. But the actual battle? That's the story that deserves to be legendary. Because Marathon wasn't just a military victory. It was the moment democracy survived. The moment the Persian Empire's expansion into Europe stopped. The moment that made Western civilization possible. Here's what was at stake in 490 BC. The Persian Empire was the undisputed superpower of the ancient world. Territory from Pakistan to Libya, from the Black Sea to the Indian Ocean. They'd conquered the Babylonians, the Egyptians, dozens of civilizations. Their army? Professional, massive, unstoppable. King Darius the Great ruled from a palace in Persepolis that made anything in Greece look like a mud hut. His empire's wealth was beyond comprehension. Greece? A mess? Not even a unified country, just a collection of city-states that constantly fought each other. Athens, Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, all with different governments, different armies, different problems. Total Greek population, maybe 2 million. Persian Empire, 50 million. So why did the most powerful man on earth care about these tiny cities on the edge of his empire? Because the Greeks had done something unforgivable. In 499 BC, Greek cities in Asia Minor rebelled against Persian rule. Athens sent ships and soldiers to help. The rebellion failed, but Greek soldiers helped burn down Sardis, an important Persian city. Darius was furious, not just angry, obsessed. According to the Greek historian Herodotus, Darius ordered a servant to remind him 3 times every single day. Master, remember the Athenians. Think about that. The ruler of 50 million people, controlling half the known world, started every day with a reminder to destroy one city of 30,000 people. This was personal. In 492 BC, Darius sent his first invasion. 300 ships, 20,000 men. They never made it. A massive storm near Mount Athos destroyed the fleet. 20,000 Persians drowned. 2 years later in 490 BC, Darius tried again. This time, he sent the fleet directly across the Aegean Sea. 600 ships, somewhere between 80,000 and 120,000 soldiers. The Persian fleet stopped first at the island of Naxos, destroyed it. Then they sailed to Eretria, the other city that had helped the rebels. After 6 days, traders opened the gates. The Persians burned Eretria to the ground, enslaved every survivor, shipped them off to Persia. Athens was next, and every Athenian knew exactly what was coming. Total annihilation. The Persian fleet landed at Marathon, a coastal plain 26 miles from Athens, perfect for their cavalry, flat ground, wide beach. And it was suggested by a traitor, an exiled Athenian tyrant named Hippias, who wanted his throne back. When news reached Athens, the city panicked. The assembly held an emergency meeting. What do we do? Some said surrender, beg for mercy. Others wanted to abandon the city entirely, flee to the ships. Then a general named Miltiades stood up. He'd fought the Persians before, he knew how they operated, and he made an insane proposal: fight. March every soldier to Marathon, face the Persians in open battle. It was suicide, everyone knew it. But Miltiades made one brutal argument. If we stay in Athens and wait, the Persians will march here, burn the city, and enslave us anyway. At least at Marathon we have a chance. A tiny chance. But a chance. The Athenians voted. They would fight. They mobilized every able-bodied citizen, farmers, merchants, anyone who could afford armor. About 9,000 men, plus 1,000 allies from tiny Plataea, who showed up even though they had no obligation to help. Athens also sent a runner to Sparta, the greatest warriors in Greece. Spartans agreed to send troops, but there was a problem. Religious festival couldn't march until the full moon. 6 days away, Athens didn't have 6 days, so they marched to Marathon with 10,000 men. When they arrived and saw the Persian camp, reality hit them like a hammer. They were massively outnumbered. The Persian cavalry alone could wipe them out. But then they noticed something about the terrain. The Greeks positioned themselves on high ground at the edge of the plain, blocking the roads to Athens. For 5 days, nothing happened. Both armies just stared at each other. The Greeks couldn't attack. Persian cavalry would slaughter them in the open. The Persians wouldn't attack uphill against the Greek phalanx. That was suicide. Stalemate. But time favored Persia. Sparta was coming, but they needed days. The Greeks would run out of food first, or make a mistake. Then on the 5th day, Greek scouts noticed something strange. The Persian cavalry had disappeared. Gone. Not on the battlefield anymore. Where were they? Modern historians think the Persians were loading cavalry back onto ships. Their plan had changed. Why fight the Greeks at Marathon when they could sail directly to Athens? The city would be undefended. They could burn it, take hostages, force the Greek army to surrender. But this created a window. A brief, dangerous window. Without cavalry, the Persian army was vulnerable. Miltiades saw it. He turned to the other generals and said something that would change history. Attack now, or lose everything. What happened next shocked even the Spartans. The Greeks formed their phalanx, 8 ranks deep in the center. But Miltiades did something unusual. He weakened the center, strengthened the wings. The formation looked like a bowl, thin in the middle, strong on the sides. Then, at a signal, they charged. Not a slow march, a full sprint. Across nearly a mile of open ground. This was unheard of. Hoplite armor weighed 60 pounds. Running in it was brutal, but Miltiades knew they had to close the gap fast. Before Persian archers tore them apart, the Persians barely had time to react. They scrambled to form ranks, and then the Greeks hit them like a bronze avalanche. The impact was catastrophic. Bronze shields smashed into wicker. Spears punched through linen armor. Men in the front ranks were crushed under their own soldiers before they even drew a second breath. The phalanx locked together. Each hoplite's shield protected the man next to him. Behind the wall, spears thrust through gaps. The Persians fought back hard. These were professionals, veterans. They grabbed Greek spears, trying to break them. They stabbed through shield gaps. In the center, where the Greek line was thin, the Persians started pushing them back, breaking through. This was exactly what Miltiades planned. As the Persian center pushed forward, thinking they were winning, the strong Greek wings crushed the Persian flanks completely. Then they curved inward, like jaws closing. The Persians in the center suddenly realized they were surrounded on 3 sides, trapped. Panic erupted. These soldiers had conquered nations. They'd never seen anything like this. They broke. They ran for the ships. But running in armor is slow. The Greeks chased them down. The beach became a killing ground. Men fought in the surf. A Greek soldier named Cynaegirus grabbed a Persian ship as it launched. A Persian axe cut off his hand. He bled to death in the waves, but the battle wasn't over yet. When the slaughter ended, Herodotus wrote the numbers. 6,400 Persians dead. Only 192 Greeks. 7 Persian ships captured. But the rest of the fleet, they escaped, and they immediately turned south, sailing straight for Athens. Miltiades saw it instantly. The Persians still thought they could win, take the undefended city while the Greek army was stuck at Marathon. He gave an order that sounded impossible. March back to Athens. Now. The Greek soldiers, who had just fought a brutal close combat battle wearing 60 pounds of bronze, force-marched 26 miles in under 8 hours. When the Persian fleet arrived at Athens expecting an easy target, they saw the Greek army already in position, armor still covered in blood, standing on the hills above the city. The Persians looked at those Greeks, realized what they'd just done, and sailed away. The invasion was over. The next day, 2,000 Spartans arrived. Too late. They asked to see the battlefield. When they saw the piled Persian dead, they congratulated Athens and marched home. Athens exploded in celebration. They'd done the impossible. But why did they win? The hoplite phalanx was designed for exactly this. Flat ground, close combat against infantry. Without cavalry, Persians lost their advantage. Greek armor was superior for brutal hand-to-hand fighting, bronze versus linen. Miltiades' tactics were brilliant. Weakening the center turned Persian numbers into a trap. Greek morale was infinite, fighting for homes, families, freedom. Persians were fighting for an empire thousands of miles away, and the Persians had underestimated them. I thought it would be easy. That arrogance cost them everything. But here's what makes Marathon truly significant. Before this battle, the Persian Empire seemed invincible. Marathon shattered that myth. For the Greeks, it proved their citizen soldiers could stand against imperial tyranny. It gave them confidence to resist when Persians came back 10 years later under Xerxes, to fight at Thermopylae, Salamis, Plataea, and win. If the Greeks lost at Marathon, Athens burns in 490 BC. No Golden Age, no Parthenon, No Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. No Athenian democracy as a model for civilization. No Greek culture spreading through Alexander. Western civilization as we know it might not exist. One battle, one decision. Everything changed. Today, Marathon is peaceful. There's a burial mound where the 192 Athenian dead were buried with honors. You can still visit it, stand on that beach. Imagine September 490 BC when everything hung in the balance. Marathon teaches us numbers aren't everything. Technology isn't everything. What matters is tactics, morale, leadership, and the courage to fight when all logic says run. The Greeks had every reason to surrender, outnumbered 15-1, facing the greatest military on earth. But they charged anyway. The Persians went home humiliated. Darius began planning revenge but died before it happened. His son Xerxes would try again, leading to Thermopylae and Salamis. But Marathon was the first time Greeks proved they could win. The battle that saved Western civilization. There's a Greek word, Aristeia, the moment a warrior achieves something impossibly heroic. Every man at Marathon had his Aristeia. 8,000 farmers who refused to run. If you want more impossible victories, the battles that changed history against all odds, subscribe and hit the bell. Comment, what battle should I cover next? Thermopylae, Cannae, Agincourt? Until next time, remember, history isn't just what happened. It's about understanding the moments when everything could have gone differently. On that beach in 490 BC, history held its breath. And 8,000 farmers decided the future of civilization.